Everyone is looking for love. And they're desperate to find it. We must show them love. We must introduce them to love, to Jesus. To Jesus, for this is true revival. Love is all they need, everlasting love. Rise up and go and show them love, revival love, supernatural love. Jesus is love. Well, hello there and welcome to today's program. You know, most Christians, or at least many of them, have been warned, severely warned at times to stay away from like witches or Satanists or New Agers or maybe those that work in the pornography field. And you know, of course, there's some wisdom in that, but our guest today actually seeks those people out. And so today with us, we have Cindy McGill. And Cindy, it's so awesome to have you with us. And I've known you for many years as an awesome evangelist, as an author, dream interpreter, and just basically a big lover of people. And so it's so wonderful to have you with us today. And we're talking about bringing God's light into the darkness. Now, one of the places, one of the venues where you actually train, equip, and take teams is at an event called Burning Man. It's in Nevada every year. And it's a very dark event. Like most Christians would not necessarily be drawn to go unless of course you were going to go as an evangelist. Can you share a little bit about what that event is? What type of people do you see there? What are they pursuing?
Well, Burning Man is a huge event. It's really gotten very popular probably over the last 15 years. And they come from all over the world. I think this year was my 9th year of doing a ministry out there. And it was 68,000 people.
68,000. And what's the genre of people that attend?
They're the movers and shakers. They're the trendsetters of today, I think. They're out there to have a week of radical self-expression. They can do whatever they want. They don't have rules. They come for spiritual hunger because they're spiritually hungry. They come because they just want to get away and experience themselves in a different way or whatever. There's just everything that goes on out there. They actually have a temple every year, and that provides the spiritual part of it where people can come, and there's all kinds of spiritual energy there. They worship everything. They have seances. They have all kinds of different things. So we come in to the temple that they have there, and we bring the presence of the Spirit of Truth, who is Jesus.
Right.
And we begin to minister right within their whole temple, anything they're doing, and they just come and they weep, they cry, they get healed. They get words, they get all kinds of, they feel God for the first time, really.
A lot of times the people that come, like, you've explained to me before, like they'll come maybe with, different worship expressions, even to Satan himself and that, and sometimes New Age, all kinds of New Age energies being expressed and that, and they're true seekers. Oftentimes they do a lot of drugs. There's sexual things that go on, sexual rituals that go on. You even find them sometimes walking around naked. There's actually no rules against anything, excepting that if someone says no, it means no. So they're not allowed to transgress anyone's will. But other than that, it's just anything goes.
Right.
Like anything and everything.
Yeah.
So I want to admire you and your teams for going, because you go in a spirit of love, but also in truth. You're not compromised.
No.
You're not saying, well, this is okay, because we know that anything outside of God can be harmful to people. So we don't want to hurt them more by saying their practices are going to be helpful to them. But what you do is you introduce them to the truth. Now, one of the things that you do is you have like outside your tent, like a big menu board.
Right.
What's on that menu board?
Well, the menu board, I call it scratching the itch. We try to meet them at the point of their need. So we'll have things like organic spiritual alignment or original root recovery. Like, who were you before you went all these different ways? And try to drive them in by, let's find your true identity. We actually have true identity, where we hold a mirror up and we stand with the mirror and they tell us what they see and we tell them what we see.
So you actually speak prophetically into their life then?
We do. And we have spiritual cleansing and redefinement, which we would know to be deliverance. And we just have, we give free rein for the Holy Spirit. He can do anything he wants to do, any way he wants to do it, to the ones that God made. And he knows them, and we don't know them. We don't know their journey. We don't know their path, but he does. And so we just give him freedom to do anything he needs to do, wants to do, any way he wants to compel them.
Wow.
To be encountered.
And I've heard from your testimonies also that most of the time it's like the presence of God hits them.
Yes.
And they've never experienced a presence like that because there is none equal to it.
Right.
And once you're touched by the presence, you're ruined for anything else. Right. So many of them come to the Lord at your tent, don't they?
Yes, they do. And once they feel the presence of God, even if they were drugged out or they were drunk or whatever, they become sober at that moment. And then they tell us what they experienced. So we don't even have to identify what happened to them. They begin to tell us. Wow. And then they want to stay. They'll come back day after day after day. We call it double and triple dipping. You know, they just come back for another encounter. So yes, they do.
Want more of Jesus.
They want more of Jesus.
So awesome.
Mm-hmm. Awaken your spiritual sight and senses with these life-changing insights by Patricia King and Cindy McGill. Eyes that see, ears that hear. Learning to hear God's voice and what your dreams are telling you. This 4-piece combo is available for only $30 plus shipping. Call 866-980-5464 and mention television offer 327. Go online to patriciaking.com or text BLESS to 42828. Order now.
Now, it says in the Bible that perfect love is what casts out fear, but many Christians have a fear of witches, of Satanists, of New Agers, of cult members, of people involved in dark things. They have a fear, and so we isolate ourselves inside the church.
Right.
But you actually train and equip people to go out in love.
Right.
And you give them all kinds of tools to work with.
Right.
So share what you've discovered about reactions in the church, like, you know, about this whole fear element, how you've dealt with it, and how to overcome it.
I think personally for me, people would say to me, aren't you afraid to go? Well, there's two things that hinge on that. One is that Jesus told us to go, and he gave us all authority over all that power. And the other thing is I see the need, and I see the hearts, and I watch, and I see that if they could only find him, if they could only get their heart connected with him, they wouldn't want anything else. And so in that regard, I'm afraid not to go.
Right. It would be horrible if you were to have a vision of the people that would be going into hell without the gospel, and know that you could have gone and made a difference.
Right. And that is in the forefront of my mind. I mean, I think we are, you know, our life is just a breath. We are only here for as long as we're here. And then we're going to be with him forever, you know. And I think, what can we take with us to heaven? The only thing we can take with us are souls. That's it.
Right.
And people that we know have found the truth, have found Jesus, have found the light, have found the way. And once they get connected with him, then we just want them to, you know, we want to watch the transformation. It happened with me. I'm so thankful. I mean, it happened in 1973. So, you know.
Now, you've gone into places like Burning Man, and you've gone, you know, into psychic fairs, and you've gone to Sundance Film Festival. In fact, Shirley Ross and I were there with you one year.
Yes.
We had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
You know, you've gone into pornography conventions. You know, I mean, you literally take your light into the darkness, which is what God told us to do. But have you received resistance from the church over the years? Like, have you been questioned as to why you would do it, or told not to do it?
Yes, both. Questioned why to do it. And again, I don't know why we're sitting around in church with, you know, 30 years with a Bible full of understanding and yet never do anything with it, or do little with it. And yet we have an epidemic in our nation, in our world, you know, that is just growing and growing. And so my thought is, if we're not there, they're not going to hear.
Right.
So why talk about the problem or any of that? We get prayer teams together. We pray ahead of time. We really get things, and we have prayer teams while we're in there. But we take the light right into the very place. And by that, I not only get to see the people that God is dealing with, because there are people praying for those people in those arenas. So God actually connects us. He lines our feet up with theirs. So I know that they've been prayed for. I know that, we're an answer to the prayer. And then I watch as they get touched and transformed. And the Lord told me this. He said, if you put your finger on the pulse of culture, I will bring you the encounters. So whether it's they just had a dream the night before, and then God will tell me what the interpretation of that dream is, knowing that God gave it to them, that'll open a door. I'll see them and they'll be highlighted or they'll glow, and I'll just walk over to them, an instant conversation, and I'm able to give them the truth. And so there's been so many wonderful things that I've experienced that I'm not even conscious anymore of what area it might look like. I don't see that.
It's just the world is an open field for us to take God's love and to let the whole world know how wonderful He is. And the people there are someone's daughter, someone's son, that is trapped in the deception that they're in. So we need to reach them. And I know that a lot of the tools that you use in this type of evangelism are spiritual tools. They're like dream interpretation, and you're very skilled at dream interpretation. On, like, I could tell you a dream and you would be able to tell me by the Spirit of God, you would be able to tell me exactly what that dream meant. And also with words of knowledge, you operate in a lot of words of knowledge, and you operate in the prophetic, hearing the voice of God, following His leading. And this is what you teach in your training sessions that you host on regular basis in different areas of the country, and that they're just excellent. So every believer then can actually learn through the Word and through proper mentorship. They can learn to hear God like that, can't they?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we need to be training. People need to be going. And that's a real passion of mine, is that we just don't have enough laborers. I go out into a sea of 68,000 people at a Burning Man festival, and I've got a team of 24.
Right.
And I know that there's maybe a couple of more, different Christian theme camps out there, but it's still it's like taking a squirt gun to a fire.
Right.
So we really do need to equip and train.
And same with Sundance Festival. There's thousands that attend that festival.
Right.
And what about the Pornography Convention? Because you went into Vegas to the Pornography Convention, and what happened there? I mean, tell us about your first time in.
Oh, the first time, I've never been into that. I was saved when I was 20, so it's never been part of my life. And when we decided that, well, if we can go to Burning Man and there's people there that have been hurt or abused, or they've been drawn into a sexual lifestyle, we ought to just go a little farther and begin to take it in. And when I did, I walked into the whole arena where they had all of their huge pictures and the girls standing around and all the traffic and the fans, and I was crying. I was literally crying. I thought tears were rolling down my face. I thought, I've never seen anything like this. And I thought the church doesn't realize what we've allowed to take place because we're not present. That's my thought, and I go like that. That's my passion. And so, I had there was a booth over there that was a Christian girl who within the arena who had gotten saved, and she grabbed me. She recognized what was happening to me, and she grabbed me and said, "Let me pray for you." And she did, and I got my feet underneath me. And from then on, in every arena I go into, regardless of what they're into, I can see the heart, because that's where God looks. He's always looking on the heart.
It's awesome. And there's so much need in there. Like, most of the people that even enter that particular industry are looking for love.
Yeah, they are.
Like, I mean, ultimately, that's what you're really looking for, is to fill that void.
Right.
And they will not get it without Christ. So we cannot just stay away because it's like dangerous territory. And I just feel in my spirit that there's many of you that are watching this today that you're listening and you're thinking, wow, I don't know if I could ever go do that. And yet there's this strange pull on your heart. And God is looking for those who will take the light into the darkness. He's looking for those who will be willing to say yes. And He will give you all the equipping that you need. He will empower you. He will teach you how to hear His voice and follow. He will teach you how to love in a way that everything that you would fear would be overcome by that level of love. And you will be able to lead so many people to the Lord if you say yes. And He will lead you into new paths that maybe you've never even thought that you would step into. And I really sense in my spirit right now that some of you are getting so gripped by this call of the Lord on your life to take the light into the darkness. We're going to go for a break right now, but right after the break, Cindy McGill is going to speak to us directly about dream interpretation and how this is used to lead people to Jesus. In fact, maybe some of your dreams will be interpreted in this next part of the program. We'll be right back.
Awaken your spiritual sight and senses with these life-changing insights by Patricia King and Cindy McGill. Eyes that see, ears that hear. Learning to hear God's voice and what your dreams are telling you. This 4-piece combo is available for only $30 plus shipping. Call 866-980-5464 and mention television offer 327. Go online to patriciaking.com or text BLESS to 42828. Order now.
Cindy, now, as we've shared, you use dream interpretation a lot to lead people to Christ. And, a lot of times people will think, well, yeah, Cindy McGill, we know that she's a dream interpreter and she's really gifted in that area. But, all believers can learn to interpret dreams, right?
Right. Actually, I wasn't very good at it when I started. I did take a few courses and I learned from some other people, and then I actually took John Paul Jackson's courses, and he was great, but I was getting all my dreams wrong in the school. And so I decided we would host the 2002 Winter Olympics, the dream team. And I thought, oh, well, why not pick a world event with your preschool dream interpretation schools? And I wasn't very good at it, I'm telling you. And one of the only people that came who was better than us was called away to a big party that he took a few of the dream interpreters with him. So I was left with the whole team, and we'd made arrangements to go into a bar/restaurant. And I stewed all day long about it. I was just complaining to God, like, I can't do this. And I thought, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this if it's the last thing I do. And I got bold and I went and I put my hand on the door of the restaurant to go in because they'd advertised that we would be there. And the Holy Spirit spoke to me and He said, will you chill out? I know how to do this. That was my way in. And I thought, I'm going to have to learn the way I think, the way that it fits me.
Right.
And so for me, dream interpretation is one of the best tools in the toolbox for fishers of men.
Why?
Because it's a message that God is giving them. And we are a second pair of eyes. We get to see a message that's already been imprinted on their spirit. They're telling us the dream. We do several things. We're honoring them by listening to them, because a lot of people aren't listened to. Then we're listening to what the dream is telling us, what the message could be. And then we're able to communicate it and put application to it, which then opens them up to it opens them up to the fact God's talking to them. It opens them up to the fact that they've got direction now, or possibly are warned from a really bad situation that could have happened. And so, in Joel 2:28, God said, I'm going to pour out my spirit on all flesh in the last days. People are going to have visions and they're going to have dreams. So we are heading in that direction. Right. And we're finding you can't go 10 feet in any public setting that you're not listening to someone tell someone else a dream. Wow. It's just everywhere right now.
No, every dream, though, isn't from God, right?
No.
So if someone has a dream that is significant to them and they're remembering it enough to tell you, that's probably, got some spiritual connotation to it or internal connotation.
The way
what are the different, what can a dream say, and where, what are the different sources?
Well, there's 3 I've identified. One is the spirit of truth, who is God, the spirit of a lie, which is the enemy trying to remind you of rotten things that have happened, and then yourself. We talk to us too, our own mind and our thoughts and our emotions. So in our dreams,
it could be any of those things. Right. Could be speaking to us. God himself, the enemy, or just things that bubble up from our own soul.
And so if it's a self-conditioned dream, if it's just something that tells me about their life, even though it may not be a dream from God, God made the dreamer.
Wow, that's a good
point. I want to hear their story. I want to hear something that they're going through, or something that the dream might open up or give me a little window into some things. I used to call it a no-brainer word of knowledge, because they're telling you things about their life. And now you can give them wisdom. You can give them truth. You can give them some pathways, or identify, here's where you are, but here's where you could be. Right. And then begin to talk to them about how God can give them dreams.
Right. When we were at Sundance, I was amazed, and I know from your teaching that there's different categories of dreams that are common.
Right.
But I was surprised at the number of people who had dreams about their teeth falling out.
Yes.
Or their hair falling out.
Right. Teeth falling out dreams are probably the number 1 dream. I mean, seriously, it's just funny. We've been all over the world interpreting dreams. We've interpreted thousands of dreams. And teeth falling out is the number 1 dream. And
what does it mean? What is...
Well, I start with, if you think of it logically, if you don't have any teeth, or your teeth are falling out, when you go to take something in your mouth to eat, you don't have the ability to chew anything or break down the details. So if you're making... I found that most people that have that dream are in some sort of a decision-making situation. They're going to move, change jobs, they're going to sign contracts or something like that. And so if they're having a teeth falling out dream, it could mean that you're in danger of swallowing something whole.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's kind of a warning, and I start there. I think in all of my travels, I've only maybe met 2 or 3 people that's been a literal situation, like when their teeth was tooth was going to fall out, or they were having dental problems. Yeah. But mostly it has to do with, I just think of it as you're going to swallow something whole. In other words, go back, calm down, rethink, get the information, make sure you're really clear before you make these kinds of life-changing decisions.
Right. And then also, what about the hair?
Well, hair falling out, I haven't had that one as much, but hair falling out, your hair is your glory or your covering. Right. And I think, it could be that you're just being uncovered. There's something new. There's something being removed or unveiled or taken off that's going to, and we can flip it around and say, you're going to get some new understanding, because that's what covers your mind. Right. So you're going to have some new understanding. Some things are being cleared away where you can actually see things differently.
Wow. It's just so fascinating. Of course, the Spirit of God is with you at the moment. So there's these little, what could be the same dream for another person could mean something different for the one that you're ministering to, right? Tell us some of the other categories that you minister into.
Of dreams?
Yeah, of dreams.
Of dreams. Oh my goodness, I've identified 4 in the book. There's self-condition, there's spiritual dreams, good or bad. That means angels or demons show up. There's warning dreams, that actually warn you of things that before they happen. And
I had a warning dream actually that saved my child from drowning.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me that. Yeah, that was amazing.
It was amazing. I had it 3 times in one dream. My child drowned.
Yeah.
And in Genesis, I think it said that, if you have it 3 times, it will come to pass and quickly. Right. And it was within hours later that this incident came up. He could have drowned, but I'd interceded because of the dream.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what people should do. If you have a dream like that and you're having a recurring dream or something that's just, it's like a knock on the door, like getting your attention.
Right.
And then there's direction dreams.
Right.
And so, we can kind of identify it by those categories. Other people have more, but I have just kind of narrowed it down to the basics. And
now, when people take your training, and by the way, your book is great, What Your Dreams Are Telling You. And I love the way you write, because you approach everything with a childlike faith, but in the spirit of truth.
Right.
And I love that you're an evangelist. I love that you have a heart for winning the lost. And therefore, tools like this are not only something that will help me as an individual Christian draw close to God, because I can hear him speaking messages to me through my dreams, but it also gives me tools to help other people. And I have so many times interpreted dreams, and seen people touched by the Lord because of the dream and wowed over it, right?
Yes, right.
So I just want to say that dream interpretation as a tool for evangelism is just amazing. It is something that definitely, if you don't know how to interpret dreams, you can be taught. Like in the Bible, there's examples of dream interpreters. You can be one of God's dream interpreters today.
Right.
And but also for yourself, it's so
Right.
awesome to be able to know how to capture a dream, how to remember the dream,
Right.
how to seek the Lord on what that dream means. It's awesome. And I want to thank you so much, Cindy, for all that you pour into the body. I love your training sessions. You're willing to train others, not only in teaching, but you're willing to take them on outreach into these places with you.
Right.
And I love it. And I know many of our team have been with you on these outreaches, and they come back raving about, just all that God does. So we want to thank you so much. And for you that are watching, I just want to encourage you to check Cindy McGill's website out for upcoming training, teaching. She's an itinerant minister as well, and will come into different churches and that to train whole congregations on this. It's amazing. And maybe that you can go out with her and bring your light into the darkness. God is so amazing. He loves everyone. He loves you, and he loves the whole wide world with an everlasting love. He really, really does. I want you to remember that, how valuable you are, not only to him, but how needed you are in the world around you. We'll see you next time.
Awaken your spiritual sight and senses with these life-changing insights by Patricia King and Cindy McGill. Eyes that see, ears that hear, learning to hear God's voice and what your dreams are telling you. This 4-piece combo is available for only $30 plus shipping. Call 866-980-5464 and mention television offer 327. Go online to patriciaking.com or text BLESS to 42828. Order now.